Hey, y'all. Happy Monday. It's one day to give a little tip for our psychological health. This is Dwight, Broken Brain Podcast. As you know, welcome back to our short mental health tip for this week. It's a pretty normal tip for your psychological health to give yourself opportunities for self-care. Now, self-care refers to things like recreation, enjoyment. Many times we talk about hobbies when we do this. If you've listened to a lot of the episodes we do on the show here about eustress and hard work and self-improvement, all those kinds of things, those are also forms of self-care. But today I want to focus a little bit on the enjoyment, recreation, relaxation types of self-care. Because one of the traps we can fall into is as we plan our week, as we plan our day, we tend to want to be productive. And that's not bad all by itself. But one thing we have to be very careful of is in our pursuit of productivity that we plan time to recuperate, re-energize, to unplug, and basically refresh our batteries. So recharging our batteries would actually be plugging in, but that's a whole nother metaphor. We can decide whatever metaphor you want to use, okay? And here's the thing. Oftentimes we don't plan for it because it just kind of happens. But when it happens, unfortunately, we label ourselves as lazy, as non-productive, as unmotivated. So if we don't plan for it, just remember it's going to happen anyway, but it will probably happen as the result of a crash, and it will probably have some type of negative emotion associated with it, which messes with the efficacy of the rest and relaxation. It's not as good if it's got shame and guilt surrounding it. So basically, it's healthy to try to build this into our plans and say, boy, a lot of stuff going on today, a lot of fun social things this weekend. I'm going to need some hours somewhere in there to maybe be away from people or maybe to rest, relax, that kind of thing. Knowing yourself really comes in here as well. If you recharge better with other people, then have some downtime with other people. If you, like many of us, if we have any kind of mood dysregulation, if we have anxiety by nature, then you may want to make sure to build into it plans to not be around anyone at all for a certain amount of time, particularly if you're going to have a lot of social energy or things that you're going to have to spend that energy. And by the way, people who are expert in this area also recommend a similar thing for when you plan what to do with your resources, particularly with money. When you are setting up a budget, many times we get into let's maximize the efficiency of this budget and the benefits that we want to get out of it. Part of that, though, is to plan whatever you can, even if it's a small amount. And math obviously plays a big role here. You have to be practically smart enough to do things that aren't going to set you up in a bad way. But experts usually say that if you don't plan some amount of fun money or some amount of resources that you can spend to do something, the chances are you're going to do that thing anyway. If you like to eat out, you're probably going to eat out a little more if you plan on not eating out, because you will just kind of finally crack and do it, and then you'll feel bad, and then you won't think about it. You do it again. You don't budget the next month because you feel that shame association. If you're a person who likes a movie now and again, if you're a person who likes that fancy coffee or that little treat or something, if you factor in whatever is something that's reasonable, it is obviously something you can afford. I'll let you figure that out as far as numbers go, but having a little bit set aside in your budget, a little bit dedicated towards something like that, will probably actually help you control the amount more than if you plan on having zero. So a lot of this goes back to the concept of self-acceptance. If we don't accept our needs, or if we don't accept what we are likely to do in our behavior to some extent, that it actually is more difficult to shift or change it than if we reject it and give ourselves shame. So a little counterintuitive sometimes, but important to keep in mind. So that's your tip for this week. Enjoy the other episodes that are going to drop in this week, and see you, then and next Monday.